Hello, everyone. I am
Hi.
here with the multi-talented Ashtyn Newbold, who has so many talents. It's sometimes is just crazy to me. Like every time she posts something, I'm like, wait, you cook too? Wait, you sew too? Wait, you do this too? You draw? Anyway,
Oh, you're
amazing.
so nice.
Not only is she a fabulous writer, she is a fabulous everything. And she's gorgeous, and she's just the whole package. Look at her. So we are here to discuss her book. It is the third book in our Seasons of Change series, and it's The Last Eligible Bachelor. And we are so excited because it has such amazing reviews, and it is just a fabulous book. So we are super excited. So I'm going to start off just for anyone out there. If you haven't read this yet, I'm just going to give you a little blurb read because it is so fun. So I should have probably had Ashtyn read this, but no, I'm prepared, so I'm going to read it. So a ruse can only last so long. And sorry if I say any of the names wrong. She can correct me if I do. Tilly Sherbrooke was born a lady, but lost her place in society by her father's folly. Quiet, resourceful, and loyal, she now makes a perfect lady's maid for her mistress, Sophia. When Sophia's parents give her no choice but to travel across England to be matched with a mysterious young bachelor, Mr. Hill, she has no interest, especially since there are several other ladies vying for him. Who better to send in her place than Tilly? What gentleman would notice a maid, even one disguised as a lady? So when Sophia asks this favor of Tilly, or rather threatens her into it, Tilly must rely on her past, the life of a proper lady, if she hopes to keep her position at Sedgwick Manor. Disguised as her mistress, Tilly takes a coach across the country to a new place, one both unfamiliar and frightening. With so much at stake, she does all she can to stay quiet and invisible. But when she inadvertently catches Mr. Hill's attention, she realizes she may have more to lose than her livelihood. She may very well lose her heart. That's the best. I love that blurb so much. So we're going to just jump right into questions. Anyone live, if you have questions for Ashtyn, just put them in the comment box. I am watching this live too. And so, yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So Sally asks, how do you keep coming up with new book ideas?
So I feel like I don't really have a method for doing it. I've always been a brainstorm or like a daydreamer, and I'm always brainstorming up. My imagination is always going. And so I'll just let my mind wander when I'm doing things like laundry or dishes or whatever. And then sometimes I'll just sit down at my computer and try to think of contemporary ideas. That's what I've been doing lately. And then thinking of a way that I could twist it to be Regency. And that's kind of how I came up with this book, because of the whole Bachelor thing. I thought, what would it be like in a Regency setting? And then I love to do cover design. And sometimes I'll make a cover before I have a book idea and even put a title on it. And then that will kind of spark an idea out of what the title is or what's on the cover.
And this was a very nice cover, I must say.
Thank you. Yeah, I love this one.
See, there's her multi-talented, ness coming out again. Such a beautiful cover. All of her covers are beautiful. So with that, are you a pantser or plotter? Do you kind of just get it in your head and then just write it? Or do you sit and plot it out and everything?
I'm a pantster, I think. Yeah. I have the basic idea, enough to write the blurb, what you read. And then as the story goes along, the scenes just kind of come to mind. And then usually I know the ending. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes the ending surprises me.
I think that's a fun way to write, because that's how I do it too.
Yeah.
And so as I'm writing, I'm like, what? No way.
It's funny.
Fun. It's like reading books, except more fun, because you're like, what?
I know. You feel like you can't take the credit for the ideas sometimes.
I know. Oh, I love it.
Your head.
Okay, Shauna, she said, this is just more a comment, but she said, I just finished this book and loved it. Big heart.
Oh, thank you.
So Betty asks, well, first she says, and then she asks, but she says, that was a brilliant storyline. Sophia asking her maid Tilly to take her place, knowing Tilly could not deny her request without a consequence. Did you have pictures of people who might look like your characters?
I didn't as I was writing it. That's really nice of her to say that she liked it too, though. But I feel like I just kind of pictured them a certain way. Like in certain books, I've had celebrities that I base the characters off of, or just pictures from Pinterest or something. But this one, I just kind of, like, they were more clear in my mind. I don't know. I didn't need to go off of pictures.
But, and you had it in there.
Yeah.
And then it's hard because Casey, she asked, if this book was turned into a movie, who would you cast?
I mean, if this guy acts, then he could be in the
just
movie.
Him. He's perfect.
Yeah, he's so cute. I feel like, yeah, if I was gonna picture anyone, I would picture him.
Yeah.
I've had so many comments of people thinking he's so good looking.
He is so good looking. He is a great cover model. Oh heavens. Yeah. So he would be a great actor. Hopefully he acts too.
Yeah,
we'll just
have to track him
throw
down
him into the movie. And then Betsy wanted to know, for each book you write, how do you decide on what your characters look like? So this one, they were more just like in your head. So sometimes I feel like when they're in my head, I have a harder time like finding like someone to match them, like you know, a celebrity or someone. I'm like, no, it's like in my head. But like, is that the same for every book, or some books you said you pick characters? Like, does it just depend the book completely?
Yeah, and I feel like this one, I feel like sometimes, so like going off the beginning of the question, like how I usually come up with it. Sometimes it's just their personality. Like, I don't know, for some reason when I have a more flirty hero, I want him to have blue eyes, and then if he's more serious, I want him to have brown eyes. Or I'll just switch it based on, like, you know, I've had a lot of characters with blue eyes lately. I'll have a brown-eyed character. Like, it's not super carefully planned out. I just kind of start going, and then as I start to imagine them, then I describe them a certain way, and then it stays for the rest of the book.
So there's a homework assignment for everyone, is to go back through all your books and be like, ooh, what traits does Ashtyn like put into someone more serious? Or there's those blue eyes. He must be a little flirty. That's so fun. I love that idea.
I don't know why it just happens that way, but
so would you want a blue-eyed gentleman or a brown-eyed gentleman?
Oh, I don't know. I've always leaned more toward blue eyes, I think.
Blue eyes. Okay. I like that. I like that. That's awesome. Okay. Betty asks, what was the toughest scene to write?
I feel like the whole book was really hard. Like, certain books are harder than others, and this one was a big challenge. I don't really know why it was so hard, but like, it was fun and it was really light, which is weird why it was so hard, because I think more serious books tend to be trickier. But I feel like overall, probably just the ending is always the hardest for me. Just trying to wrap everything up and make sure. I mean, and yeah, this book is one of the ones where I didn't know exactly how it was going to end until I'd gotten about 3/4 of the way through, and then I figured it out. But so the ending was probably the hardest.
The hardest. Mm-hmm. That is so. And what number book is this for you?
I think it's my 14th.
14th. Yeah, when you get up in those numbers, it's like, I think possibly my 14th.
I don't
know. There's a lot of books.
Really think about it. Because I have like an anthology with my old publisher, so I don't know if I should count that or not, but I think it's
totally anything published, I think you should count. So that's amazing. 14 books. Holy Hannah. So we have Leslie with a really fun question. She says, what's your favorite celebrity crush? And would you go on a dating show if that crush was The Bachelor?
my favorite has probably been Liam Hemsworth for the longest. Like, since I wrote my first book, he inspired the main character in my very first book. And I just love him in the last song. And so if he was on the show, I probably still wouldn't go on the show because that would just be a disaster. I feel like I'm too much like my main character, my main girl, Tilly. She's always embarrassing herself, and I feel like that's what I would do. I mean,
that's endearing. Yes, no, exactly. You are as good as Liam's, or I guess Liam's is as good as yours, because you are so darling and endearing. He just would not know. He'd just be like Mr. Hill. Then you guys could just reenact that, because you two together would be a perfect couple for those two. It'd be so fun. And so then Mandy wants to know, was this book inspired by The Bachelor, which you kind of touched on?
Yeah. I was just thinking, I don't actually watch The Bachelor, but I had a lot of friends that did, and they just loved it. And so I was thinking, just what I said, like, how would it be in a Regency setting? So,
yeah. Perfect. Shaylin wants to know, was it easier to work on a group project with other authors like this one, or do you like to do your own? Also, were there any of the other authors of the Seasons of Change series intimidating to work with?
Well, Jess was pretty scary.
Scary person. I have very high expectations, and
no, I love working in groups because we can all bounce ideas off each other and support each other, and we all become such good friends. And like, I'd worked with most of the authors on other projects before, so it wasn't intimidating, really. Everyone's just so sweet and nice, and we get along great. So I love both. I love doing my own projects and working with authors. So I like to do a good mix of each every year so I can get both experiences.
Oh, I love it. Yes, no, that is a great group of authors there. Everyone is so kind and so awesome. Yeah. Alicia wants to know, when do you find is your best time of day for writing?
I can usually write. I usually get most of it done in the afternoon or late morning. I find that I'm not very good writing once it's dark outside. Like at nighttime, I can't focus. I just want to relax at that point. But if I get it done during the day, I'm most productive.
You're most productive. So what do you like to do at night then?
I just hang out with my family. I just actually moved away from my family, so now I hang out with my roommates and my friends. And then awesome. I love reading too in the evenings. Reading.
That's so fun. See, I'm opposite of you. I am like, my brain doesn't start functioning until about 7 p.m. I feel like.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Before that, I'm just useless. Oh, and Deborah says, you and Liam would make the most perfect couple ever. Hey, and he's recently available, right? Oh, and Shaylin said, thank you for answering her question. Oh. Okay, moving on to the next one. Angie asks, what do you imagine happened to Jessie after the story ended? I'd like to believe she went with Tilly to be her maid, but I guess that could cause more friction with Sophia's family.
Yeah, so I've actually thought a little bit about Jessie. I'm thinking about writing a book for her. I'm not sure if I will, so I don't want to say too much, but one of my original thoughts was that she would go and be Sophia's maid, but I don't know. I might want to have something a little more exciting for her. So I'm still thinking about it, but that is a really good idea to have her just go be Sophia's maid. I think she'd be happy with that.
She'd be happy. So we'll just say that she's Sophia's maid until Ashtyn writes the story, if she does. So then we'll see what really happens.
You can imagine whatever you want. I love to leave my stories kind of open-ended. I resolve most things, but certain things I like people to just get to imagine whatever they want.
Oh, I love that. Get to choose Good to, and I feel like we all do that anyway. So that's just perfect that you do that. With that, Courtney wants to know, is there a bonus epilogue? She just feels like she didn't even get enough. I'm guessing. She's like, wait, this is over? That sad moment when the story ends and you're like, what? Like, how is this over? So
I know. I don't have an epilogue yet. I did it because I wanted people just to imagine whatever they want. I don't know. It's like pressure on me sometimes when they have to show the characters later. Like, I want to just everyone to have their own idea of where they end up after their happily ever after. So I don't have one. Maybe I'll write one. I have a few books without epilogues. I might write one for like as a bonus scene on my website or something, but I'll have to give it a little more time when I finish my next book. So
yeah, and anyone who feels so inclined, give Ashtyn some fan fiction. Be like, this is where I saw it going.
That would
write
be
your
so
own
fun.
little epilogue and then send it to Ashtyn, and she can enjoy it and see where all your imaginations go with her characters.
That's such a cute idea.
It would be fun to see what other people think, or just like if you're not much of a writer, just bullet pointers, some thoughts, and shoot it over. Email it on over to Ashtyn.
Yeah.
Oh, like Jessie. I think she's Sophia's maid. I love that. Amy wants to know, what was your most favorite scene to write?
Oh, there were a lot of fun ones. I love the part when she she crashes into the maid and spills the tea tray on him. That part was funny. Just so cringy and embarrassing, but funny.
But so great.
Those are my favorite parts to write. I'm so mean to my characters. But I also loved when they have to take the necklace back to the drawing room in the middle of the night, and then they have to hide behind the sofa. That part was fun to write.
Oh my goodness. So many good scenes. It would be hard to choose a favorite. So Shaylin says, Ashtyn, you are adorable. Are you dating anyone, or should we all start setting you up on some dates? You have a group of romance readers and writers, and we're all like, Ashtyn is like the perfect character. Who can we set her up with? Look at us in your life.
I am single. So, I mean, if you know anyone in Idaho.
Or if you know Liam Hemsworth, one of those two things, you just go ahead and reach out to Ashtyn.
Perfect.
Oh, I love it so much. Okay, so I like to ask everyone this just because I am annoying. So I like to do things like this. But Jane Austen or Georgette Heyer? What one is your favorite?
I like Jane Austen. I've only read a couple of Georgette Heyer books, and I like them a lot. But Jane Austen, I think, will always be my favorite. And I love all the movie adaptations, too.
Love them.
I just watch those over and over.
In your evenings when you're relaxing.
Yeah. Which one's your favorite?
Oh, I'm Jane Austen. I'm like you. I've read a couple of Georgette Heyer's, and I liked them. I liked all of them. My favorite is the Grand Sophie. I thought that one was so funny. But I know Jane Austen is the one I go back to over and over again. So
yeah, me too.
It's a fun one. Okay, and last question, unless we have any more come in. What character do you most relate to? I guess it's really two questions. And which do you relate to the least in this book?
I probably relate to Tilly the most, just with, embarrassing myself and being quiet and shy. But I feel like that's the case for a lot of my main characters. I either have them based a little bit off of me in some way, just a small way, or based off of something I admire and I would want to develop in myself. So I guess the most me that I see is in her. And then the least, I would have to say probably, there's like 4 other ladies there vying for the guy. And I would have to say the villain because I don't want to be like her. Her name's Miss Downsfield, and she's just very annoying. I just don't like her. She's the one trying to come in between them, so we don't like that.
No. Oh, those ones are the worst. You're nothing like her at all, so don't you even worry. You're definitely like Tilly because you're so darn endearing and cute and fabulous. Oh, here, Ashley has a question. She wants to know what's your favorite retelling? Ooh, for both of us. What's our favorite retelling?
Like a fairy tale retelling?
I think maybe Jane Austen, or I don't know. Ashley, if you want to clarify where you want us to go with this, we'll go wherever we go, and then if you want us to answer different, then let us know. So what's your favorite Jane Austen adaptation? Maybe let's go with that, and then we'll see if she clarifies.
Just like a film adaptation.
Yeah, or like a film adaptation. Like what's your favorite of all the Jane Austen film adaptations?
Probably, I don't know. I love the new Emma. I think it's so fun how it was so comedic and the costumes, and I don't know. That one's so good. And then I, of course, love Pride and Prejudice, the 1995.
1995. Oh, that's my favorite. And then I also love the new Emma too, but I love the Emma with Gwyneth Paltrow. And there's just because of a few scenes that I absolutely love, like her John, like when she's talking about John, like, and having Mr. Knightley go to her brother, and she's like talking about like, I hate John, like that whole scene. I'm like, every time I think about it, I laugh out loud, and it's my favorite. So I am partial to that one too. Gosh, there's so many good ones though, because now I'm like,
and Persuasion,
I love the Persuasion one.
Yes,
I don't know. So there's lots, but I think I hold strong usually to 1995 Pride and Prejudice.
Yeah, overall, I think that one's the best, in my opinion.
Okay, and Ashley says both now that I'm given an option. And she's like, wow, I didn't clarify. Well, I meant books. So what is your favorite retelling of apparently a Jane Austen or a fairy tale? Oh, heavens.
I haven't read a Jane Austen retelling, I don't think. Have you?
You know what? I actually I haven't read a lot. I read like the Mr. Darcy version of Pride and Prejudice, which I think she did really good at. And I think that like it just felt like his view the entire time. I was like, oh, this is interesting, because it like didn't feel new that much. It just felt like what I imagined Mr. Darcy would think. So but I actually just beta read one for a gal named Kathy Kelly, and she is doing a Mary Bennett retelling where Mary Bennett like becomes a spy, and it was just so fun because she had such a good handle on Pride and Prejudice like characters. So it was so fun to see them again, and then have like Mary Bennett have her own story, because like, I mean, Mary Bennett, right? Like we don't often think of Mary Bennett. So
so cute.
No one else can get their hands on it quite yet, but it was really fun. I thought it was really fun. So I guess that's the only retelling I can think of that I've read lately.
I really like, as far as fairy tales, my friend Jessalyn Stewart Peasley is her author name. She wrote one called Ella, and it's obviously like a Cinderella retelling, and I loved it. It's so good. I read that one a few years ago. Her writing is so awesome.
I feel like I've seen that one. I don't think I've read it, Ella.
It was published by Cedar Fort. So that's how I met her, with that publisher, and then I read that book.
Okay, so Ella. So check that one out. I'm trying to think. I love fairy tale retellings. I'm writing one, and I can't even think of one lately that I've read. So
I didn't know you were writing one. That's fun.
Yeah, I actually like started writing that before I wrote my Regency. It's like a Sleeping Beauty retelling, except it's not from, like, it's from one of the villagers stuck in so there were like the people that went to sleep, and then just outside are these people like stuck in this state of like non-progression until the curse is broken. And so it's one of those. Anyway.
That's cool.
Just some random, but I'm like trying to think. I'm like, I love fairy tale retellings. Why can't I not even think of one? So Ashley, I'm going to have to get back to you. Once I think of one, I will I'll comment right here and be like, thought of it. I can't even think of one right now. Okay, and so I wanted to end with I got on. Okay, this book has Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping Beauty is my favorite too, Shaylin. It always was. That's why I wanted to write one. So
that's such a good one.
Such a good one. Who's your favorite princess? While we're talking about this, Ashtyn, who's your favorite princess?
Probably Cinderella.
Cinderella
or Belle. I was
going to say you remind me of a Belle. Like I mean, maybe it's like the dark and like knowing how much you love books and how smart you are. But Cinderella is great too.
I love all of them.
I actually don't really love Cinderella, and I'll tell you why. Because my husband is also super talented like you and sings like you. And well, he doesn't sing like you because you obviously sing like an angel, and he sings like the male equivalent of that. I guess angels are males too. So we'll go. Yeah. Anyway, long roundabout. He was Prince Charming our senior year when we were dating in our high school play. And they did Rogers Hammerstein, whatever that is. And he was Prince Charming, and he had to kiss another girl. And I banned her. I was like, when we get married one day, Cinderella will not be allowed.
That's so funny.
But I've since gone back on that. And she's now allowed in my girls have little Cinderella dresses, and I have the new action film and everything. So look at me becoming a better person, but for a long time.
I love that you banned the whole princess, like
the whole princess,
the movie, everything
out. Anyway, so I had a bitter taste in my mouth with Cinderella for a while. But we've moved on. Anyway, so here is one of my favorite reviews. You have so many amazing reviews. It was so hard to choose. But I love this one, and I love that it was just from Kindle customer, so it's kind of like anonymous and represents us as a whole. But she says, Ashtyn Newbold is an extraordinarily gifted author and an excellent storyteller. Each character was so well developed and interesting in their own unique way that it was as if I'd known them from another time. The plot was intriguing, wondering how it could possibly work out. Her twists and turns kept me glued to the story. I'll be reading more of her books. And then I loved this little piece of another one that was calling it a swoon-worthy romance and toe-curling kisses.
I saw that description. That's so cute.
Isn't that so great? So I just love that review. Those are two different reviews, but she has so many great ones on there. If you've read it and you haven't left a review, I know she would be so grateful. We love to have reviews as authors. So get on there and review it if you haven't yet. And thank you so much for talking to us today, Ashtyn. You are amazing, and we all love you and love your stories. And you were just like the most darling things ever. And I wish I had brothers to marry you off to, because I would love you as my sister. But I guess they're all married. Oh.
Thank you so much. It was so fun chatting.
So that would work too. But yes, it was so fun chatting. Everyone, thanks for being here and for your comments. And yes, we will be back next month for our next book club. So
I hope you all have a great day. Bye.